So there's a hidden move in the golf swing that the majority of the pros do that most amateurs don't. And in today's video, we're going to share with you 5 drills that will help you do the same to help you compress the golf ball, but also hit it straighter. So where the majority of amateur golfers go wrong is in the downswing. They often get too steep with the shaft above the swing plane. Coupled with that, they get the club face in this open position. Now the issue with this is, from here, really, we need to make a lot of compensations to either get the club back on plane and to square the face. Now the problem is here, because we're working so hard to square the face and get it back to a good delivery, the inconsistency of what we do and present to the golf ball just creates so much variety of actually direction with the shots. And that's not what the best players do. No. The best players, generally from the top of the golf swing, they move the club shallow towards the swing plane, and the club face is in a much stronger, much more neutral position. You can see it's more close to 90 degrees. This would be a more of an open face. Now from here, with the club more on plane, they can go ahead, maintain posture, and move the body in a much more efficient way. And the need for them to make any compensations is just so small. Therefore, they're able to get much more consistency of the face, which leads to way more predictability.
And this is all achieved by this hidden move. But look, it's really hard to see the hidden move, so that is why we've got the hack motion sensor here to understand a little bit more about what the wrist is doing. We're also going to give you 5 drills which are going to help you get that hidden move. But Andy, before we get into this, extension, flexion are 2 key words that we use. Just what do they mean?
We need to understand it. So straight away here, this is in a pretty neutral position here. This is extension, where the wrist would go into more of a cupping action, and this is flexion. Now, extension leads to more of an open face. This will actually lead to more of a closed face. And the hidden move really is in what happens with the wrist angles. So let's just take you through that then. So I'm just going to line myself. We're going to go yellow flag here.
You going to hit one?
I will in a moment.
Okay.
I will in a moment.
Ooh.
What we see amongst many of the best players, they have very different positions at the top. Some have more cup, some have flatter, some even have bowed. But one thing the majority have in common, the move they start the downswing with is a little bit of this flexion here. Very hard to see, but when you measure it, they get to the top, they go into this flexion, and you can see what it starts to do. As I flex now into this, it helps shallow the golf club, but coupled with that, it helps strengthen the club face. Now with the amateur golfer, we see the opposite. We see often a move that's over the top, a lot of extension here, which opens the face, and that's when we lead to all this nonsense where we've got to really work hard to try and square the face up, and it's just so hard to do consistently.
I was looking at the hack motion then. There was a 50-degree difference in what you were doing from the hidden move in a good way to that what we see from someone who generally slices it.
Exactly. Take a look at Justin Thomas. He's somebody who gets it relatively flat at the top, but he still moves into this little bit of flexion in the downswing. He needs to, especially because his arms get into such a high position. This helps him shallow the golf club instead of actually moving forward.
Yeah. All right, let's hit one then.
So I do this a little bit more than Piers actually. Yours is a little bit more flat, but let's just take a look. I won't try anything different. I'm just going to hit a stock 7-iron here, and let's just see what the data is saying on my transition, my lead wrist.
Good shot, high draw. That was actually very nice, Andrew.
That was lovely, wasn't it? That was
Hitting
very
these
nice.
irons well, aren't you? I like it.
Okay, call out the numbers. What do we got?
Okay, so top of the backswing, it was plus 17.
Yep, 17.
And then by the time you got to impact, it was actually negative 12. So you've gone from this cupping to bowing by the time you've got down to impact.
Okay, so that's almost 29 degrees.
Yeah.
I've changed my left wrist position by 29 degrees. Now it's also
in a
interesting.
good direction.
In a good direction. It's also interesting, a lot of people say you need to have a flat left wrist. You don't have to have a flat left wrist at the top. It's all relative to the grip. This is why the hack motion is so good, because it's giving you the parameters based on how you grip the golf club.
Yeah, exactly. It matches your grip style, so you're not having to just try and do what other people are doing. You're actually doing what is best for you, which is the best part.
Let me hit another one and just see what this is
and
like.
And you were
again.
right at the high ends there, so he was at the highest end of the top of the extension, so the most extension he could have before it went amber, and he was at the most flexion before it went amber as well.
Okay, a little bit of a push on that, so I would say there's probably a little bit less in that one.
Well, if we think about this, so the top of the backswing, it was less extension, but actually it was more bowed at impact slightly,
interesting.
which could make sense, because if we think about it, more bowing it, the more you go into your old pattern and leaves the ball out to the right.
And the reason I get a lot of this in my golf swing is because I actually get too much of this. Now, if I had loads of cup here, look at the club face. There's no way I can actually get to the ball. So what I do, I have this little bit of tilt, this side bend, but in order to actually get the club face square, exaggerated here, I create a lot of this flexion here. It works for me in order to actually get the club back to the ball. Now guess what? I've never even once thought or tried to do this. It's happened as a result, very naturally, about me trying to get the ball flight. But you can train this, which obviously we'll come to in a moment.
Yeah. That's our job to train you with that, but your job, you condition this by just playing lots of golf.
Exactly.
And becoming good at golf, really.
Yeah. There's not many of the best players in the world who will have really worked that hard at this. It happens very naturally for them.
I thought you were going to say that there's not many good golfers like me then. That's what I thought you were like.
Well, there's not many, not many.
Right now, look, here's the first tip, here's the first drill. And actually, this is a little bit more based on how you actually finish your backswing. So it's not even thinking about that hidden move. It's more about actually just prepping you better. And as a great example of this, we've got one of our mastery members, Paul Ainsworth, member of meandmygolf.com. And he came for a live lesson. He was doing Route 66 on his bike, and we had a lesson at the top there. And he has a good move, and we can see into his backswing, we can see he's actually looking pretty good. The wrist looks pretty decent, but then as he continues to swing and overswing, he creates more cup, more extension in that wrist. So the fact he had that overswing, he's creating more extension in that wrist, which is getting the club face open and making it really hard for him to do the hidden move. So actually just shortening your backswing is a great way of doing this. So what I'm going to do, Andy, I'm just going to get a bit of biofeedback on this one here. Okay, so what you're going to know, you're going to hear a tone which is telling us where, if Andy is in range, then the tone is going to be on and you're going to see it in green. So Andy, what I want you to do is to swing to the top of your backswing. Just do your backswing to the top. We'll notice he's just going to flex it a little bit more maybe. There we go. It's because it's more static. Because that's around about 17, 18 degrees. Now, if you do Paul's move where you overswing and cup the wrist, it goes up to 55, 56. So that overswing, that extra cocking of the wrist will probably make the club go into extension. Then what's going to happen from there, Andy?
We're going to go steep, open, and then we're going to really struggle to just make that consistency.
So if you are somebody, if you've seen your golf swing and you know you have this overswing and you get a lot of cup in this wrist, let's try shortening it and getting it a little bit flatter.
So from here, just create the awareness. So we'll swing to the top. Again,
nice.
Short, wide, nice and flat. And then hit a shot. This creates the awareness of where the wrists are.
This is what we did with Paul.
And if you've got a hack motion, obviously you've got the real-time feedback as well. So I'm just going to swing to the top, short, wide, and then through. And that just really just heightens your awareness of where the club is. A lot of golfers swing back so fast, the club's lost, and they're like, I have no clue where the club head is.
I mean, look, Tiger Woods did this drill as the main drill that Butch Harmon did with him stopping at the top of the backswing. And if you've got something like a hack motion giving you that feedback as well, that's just fantastic.
So the next drill, and I like this one because it's just putting some emphasis on what the hands are doing and what the wrists are doing really. No club, we're just going to go lead hand only. You're going to make some swings, go into the top, and just feeling as if we're getting into this flexion. So swinging to the top, feeling that we sort of bow the wrist in transition, all the way down to impact. So you'll see from the face on here, my knuckles are almost facing the ground. This is way more than we would need, but if we're somebody who does this over the top steep, those knuckles here are going to face up. So swinging back, flexing the wrists on the way down, this bow here, all the way down to impact, where we feel the back of this now, again, is down towards the ground. I could almost open this up and see the palm facing up my face.
Again, another thing that Tiger's aware of, he's often thought about having those knuckles facing down when he's striking the golf ball.
Just simply doing this motion here, you'll see a lot of good players, they'll be rehearsing this sort of motion, that left wrist working into a better place, certainly through this hitting area.
And just do that again, Andy, just swing to the top and stop. So you'll notice he's in tone, so he's got a bit of extension. He's going to lose that straight away as soon as he starts swinging down. So if you've got the sensor on you, we're literally asking you to lose that tone as you start the hidden move. Nice.
Okay, so third drill is just choking down halfway down the golf club here. And all you're going to do is you're going to swing back to the top of the golf swing. From here, you're going to feel like the club, the weight of the club works this way. And as the weight of the club works this way, we're going to feel that there's a little bow in the wrist there. So swinging back, feel the weight of the club work this way. You can hear the tone switching off now. This now you can see is inflection. Club is in a nice shallow position. And there's that sort of feeling here with those knuckles down towards the ground. You can see what this creates from a shaft lean perspective as well. You know, this is what we see a lot of the best players do. This is why they're able to actually get this shaft leaning forward, and compression, key component for it.
So the fourth drill is bend it like Jaffa. So who's Jaffa? Jaffa is actually one of my old students back in the UK, and this is more of an external cue. Actually for Jaffa, he had a little bit of a steep over the top golf swing on the way down, but he would struggle when we started talking about positions in the golf swing. Didn't do that good a job of it, really. So the one day I actually stuck an alignment stick in the ground, and I said, do you know what? Do you think you could draw a golf ball around that stick? And he went, oh, let's have a go. And he pretty much did it straight away. So straight away, he was able to get the ball flight he wanted by just thinking about the objective of the shot, start it right to the stick, and bend it around it, like bend it like Beckham. But here's the thing, when he did that, guess what happened? His wrist went into such a much better condition as he was starting his downswing, based on the fact he just wanted to send the club out to the right more on the downswing. So it was actually a real simple way. Maybe just go through that a little bit now.
Yeah. So we're changing the swing by creating the intention. Carl Morris, great sports psychologist, will say the body will organize movement when given a clear intention. So instead of trying to position it, I'm just focused on here of saying, how can I get the ball starting right of that alignment stick and actually get the ball bending back? In order to do that, my body needs to do some different things and create the right conditions in order to do that.
This would be great for someone maybe who doesn't practice a lot. Not saying that Jaffa didn't practice a lot, he actually practiced quite a bit. But for someone who doesn't practice a lot, this is a really good way of actually changing that hidden move.
Again, work really hard by just the swing here to do that as well. Alignment's pretty neutral. I'm just going to get it by changing the golf swing. Okay, I've got it started right, didn't have enough draw, but
that's still good.
Strike was definitely a little bit better.
Wins a bit off the left. Wins a bit off the left.
Okay, fifth one is, again, a little bit more, less about the golf swing. It's a little bit of a golf swing, but it's creating the intention. So we've got the toe in the bag here, and think about what we're trying to do in the golf swing. We're trying to flex the wrist. Why? We want a slightly shallower club, but the main reason is we want the club face to be stronger. When the club face is open, this is what leads to inconsistencies. So getting something close to impact, let's go impact first. All I'm going to do here with the impact bag is get the toe of the club into the bag. So if you're somebody who creates a lot of extension, you'll see the face and the heel are going to lead like this. You can see this is pointing up and the heel is leading the toe. That's the last thing we want to have. So we're going to rehearse coming back down to impact. Okay, the toe of the club is beating the heel, but look at my left wrist. Look at this left wrist. I can't see any of the knuckles on this left wrist here.
Minus 20.
Minus 20 on there. So I'm coming down to impact. The intention is to get the toe to beat the heel. A couple of things from face on. You'll see the shaft leaning forward. You'll see this bow in the lead wrist here. Again, you know what a good impact looks like for iron, and this is certainly where we want to be moving towards, instead of here and then here, which is what we see so much of.
And by the way, this is by far the best exaggeration drill we can ever do. If you're someone who slices the golf ball because of that bad wrist condition, this is as good as it gets. Now, when it was saying minus 20 there on the hack motion, that's too much for Andy. He doesn't want to be doing that. But if you're someone who yanks the handle down and has a lot of extension in that wrist, that's a really nice way of feeling how to get that club face squared up.
So I'm going to exaggerate this now, and I'm going to really feel as if I can get that toe in the bag. And I'll see if I can get the ball working a little bit more from right to left on this one.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. There's that nice draw. Feels nice when you get it. That feels so solid and strong when I get to that impact.
Yeah.
Again, look at that one. Yeah, way more. Yeah. So we hope that made sense to you guys. That hidden move could make a big difference to your game. Now, if you enjoy our coaching and you want more from us, we have an online membership. We do golf schools and in-person lessons here at the Grand. All the links are in the description. And if you want more info on the Hack Motion sensor, the link is down there as well. Thanks again.